You guys can see the screen with the topics on it. Awesome. Right, I just have to move a few things around. All right. So like I said, in April, we did a recycling heavy based presentation where it was just really talking about what goes in your blue cart, which we're definitely going to cover again today because we can never really say that information enough times. But there's a few other things that we do want to talk about. So yes, we're going to do recycling 101. We're also going to talk about textile waste, which is something that's really relatable and really easy to find new ways to recycle textiles. After that, we're going to head into electronics waste. This is something that we all have, and it's really easy to recycle it safely. And then we're going to end off with food waste. So again, something we all have that we're probably sending to the landfill that we could easily be diverting. So first up, recycling 101. Recycling is so easy. It's literally in your backyard with the blue cart, or if you're in a condo or apartment, you might have a big blue bin. So the city of Saskatoon right now is working towards a 70% waste diversion. So when you think about how much garbage you put in your black bin, we're trying to find ways here in Saskatoon to divert 70% of that into something else, whether it be recycling or compost. So now that we have discovered this wonderful blue cart that makes recycling so easy in your backyard, let's talk about how to use it. We have this really great saying here. We call it Think Smart, 5 in the cart. So here are those 5 categories of things. We have paper. Seems super simple. I promise it is. When it comes to paper, like our best pro tip is if you can rip it, you can recycle it, with a few exceptions like photographs. So things that are really heavily doused in chemicals, okay? Sorry, I'm just gonna admit a few people here. Okay. Next is plastics. So plastics are highly recyclable materials, but they need to be rigid plastics. Sorry, a few more. Okay. When I say rigid, I mean something like a detergent bottle or a water bottle is a rigid plastic. A non-rigid plastic example would be something like a plastic shopping bag. So when it comes to plastic, if it crinkles or stretches like a shopping bag, it's not recyclable. It's got to be those rigid kind of food grade containers. Next is tin and aluminum. Sorry, just trying to mute a few of the newcomers here, and it won't let me. Okay. Just ask everyone just to mute themselves as they come in. And just changed my screen and it freaked me out. Okay, back to it. So tin and aluminum. These are things that you're getting soup can, cat or dog food in, and then aluminum beverage containers that are, you know, things that are in your everyday life in your home. Those can easily be recycled as well. Next, cardboard, pretty plain and simple. Any kind of cardboard or box board, easily put into your blue cart. We just ask that those boxes get flattened down and are no larger than 2 foot by 2 foot. Anything bigger than that is likely going to jam up the equipment and we won't be able to sort it without getting injured. Lastly is glass. So in the city of Saskatoon, you are allowed to put glass in your blue cart. If you don't live in the city, you're more than welcome to bring it to us at our recycling depot for free and drop it off anytime, any day of the year, and we will make sure that it gets recycled here. Some overall themes when it comes to all 5 of these categories is that it has to be clean, okay? When I say clean, I mean if it's a soup can and it's got quite a few vegetables still stuck in the bottom, or if it's a plastic juice bottle and it's still got juice in it, when things like that come to us with food waste still inside of them, if it takes us a few weeks to find a recycler that can accept that material, that food waste will go moldy and contaminate the clean recyclables around it. So we really just want to make sure that we are putting in clean, food grade household materials, okay? So the reason I feel like we always have to really reiterate that is this program was designed for households. So we're not looking for glass windshields or plastic bumpers. We're looking for that little, small, easy to recycle items. Something we get asked all the time is why? Why are we only accepting those materials? And there are a couple really clear reasons here. Safety. Safety is our #1 priority when it comes to sorting all these materials, okay? That picture right there is of some of my amazing coworkers who unfortunately every day have to wear abrasion-proof gloves to protect themselves from dirty needles coming across the line, knives, chainsaws, axes, all sorts of dangerous things that are being put in recycling carts that don't belong. Next is cleanliness, okay? I can't stress this one enough. When we put things in the bin that don't belong, that are dirty, they can break open and ruin tons of clean recycling around them, and we really hate to see that happen. A statistic that we came up with about 1.5 years ago was that we received so many diapers here at Laura's Recycle that we could line the highway from Saskatoon to Prince Albert. Every time something like that comes in here, it's going to ruin clean recycling, and we really don't want to see that happen. Lastly is markets. What do I mean by markets? I know that sounds more of like a money thing, but it's more of a where can we actually send these materials to be made into something new? If there aren't factories accepting these materials to recycle them, then we can't accept them in our program. Also, if the item just isn't recyclable, like a black piece of plastic, we can't accept it because then we're just having to throw it out and it's contaminating other recyclables. So that is Recycling 101 really quickly in a nutshell. I know it's a lot of information, so if you have more questions about recycling specific, just pop them into the chat and I'd be happy to answer them after. Next, textile waste. As you're sitting here listening to me in this presentation, you are wearing textiles, you're wearing clothes and shoes, and you're probably sitting on furniture that has fabric on it. We all have textiles in our life, and we all have textile waste or recycling that we need to get rid of. So, some things to consider when you're purchasing new textiles. How long is this garment going to last? Where was this made? And how often am I actually going to use it? So right now, the statistics say that Canadians on average throw away 37 kilograms of textile waste every year. That's a massive amount of clothing that we're each sending to a landfill. Those items can take up to 200 years to break down in a landfill when they probably could have just been worn by someone else or turned into something new. 95% of the clothing that you own that you're about to throw away could be upcycled or shared. So yeah, 15%, that's pretty low, all right? When you think about all the clothing that you've donated or thrown out throughout the year, only 15% of it that's being created is actually being recycled. So what we really like to talk about and just promote is how easy it is to find a better option for textiles. Like I said, it can take over 200 years for a textile to break down in a landfill, and there are plenty of easily accessible and free alternatives like handing down clothes to a friend, doing a clothing swap party, dropping items off at a local thrift store, donating them to a clothing donation bin, or upcycling or restoring them. So if you've got a rip and it's your favorite shirt, don't throw it out. You know, upcycle it, turn it into a tote bag and use it for groceries. There are endless possibilities of things that you can do with textile waste. Okay, I'll just ask.
Let's do it after school. That'd be perfect.
Can I just ask everyone to mute themselves? That would be great. Thank you. Okay. Next up, electronic waste. We all have electronic waste. We're probably all looking at a computer screen or on a cell phone that eventually is going to be outdated and needing to be replaced, okay? So let's make sure that electronic waste gets disposed of properly and safely, and there are a couple reasons I ask for that. So e-waste isn't just what's pictured here, very old cell phones that I'm sure many of you might have never seen before. E-waste is a wide category of things, okay? So it's not just cell phones and televisions, it's things like extension cords and Christmas lights. I always have to bring up cords and Christmas lights, especially when it comes to here at Loris Recycle. Things like an extension cord or Christmas lights are incredibly dangerous. A lot of our equipment spins, and when an extension cord gets stuck on something like that and whips around, it can really hurt one of our employees. The reasons that we need to recycle these are obviously, or recycle them responsibly, are because number one, they're filled with a lot of precious materials that can be easily recycled, like metals, but they're also filled with hazardous materials like batteries. I would say batteries are the number one cause of fires in recycling facilities and landfills. So when something like that comes to a recycling facility, if the acid in the battery gets cracked and the acid leaks out, it's surrounded by really flammable things like paper and cardboard. It's going to cause massive fires. And the same when it goes to the landfill, it can easily cause a fire out there. So it's really important for us to make sure we recycle them responsibly. So how do you do that? Well, it's super easy. We're really lucky here in Saskatchewan to have a program called Recycle My Electronics. They've got drop-off locations in Canada everywhere. They've actually got over 2,000 drop-offs in Canada, and many of them are here in Saskatchewan. We even have one at our Loris landfill. You can bring your electronics and they will be safely and responsibly recycled, and it's incredibly easy to use. This statistic here, the average person keeps their cell phone less than 2 years. That probably is going to apply to things like tablets and laptops too, right? So let's make sure that we take this information and responsibly dispose of this kind of recycling. It's not just at our landfill that you can drop this off. There's lots of places you can take them that you're probably already going. Sarcan, Staples, Visions, Best Buy. It's really easy to make sure that you're getting rid of electronic waste responsibly. And once you set that new pattern or that new habit of doing this, it'll be super easy to continue on with it. One more topic, this one's probably my favorite one to talk about other than recycling, is food waste. So food waste makes up like 30 to 40% of the garbage that's in your garbage container at home, work, school. It's something, again, that we all have and in abundance. I'm sure you can think of times you didn't finish your lunch or your dinner and you threw food away that went to the landfill. There are a couple of really easy solutions for this. The city of Saskatoon has a green cart program, and last year they diverted 4,800 tons of green waste from the landfill. That's a massive amount. Here at Loris, we also have a program called Loris Organics, which is geared towards more restaurants style businesses and other businesses that may have food waste. And we actually were able to divert just about 4,000 tons as well from landfills. So there are new programs that are growing and expanding that are going to make this a lot easier for you. You've just got to add them into your routine. So I have this really great statistic that I wanted to share because it really is shocking just how much food we are wasting every day in Canada. I don't know if you could close your eyes and picture in your head 1.2 million tomatoes. That's an insane amount of tomatoes. And every day we're throwing those in the landfill. Okay. So there's a lot of different things here. And, potatoes, loaves of bread, apples, bananas, cups of milk. There's a lot of food that we're wasting. And there are better ways to get rid of your food waste than just to throw it out. A really great story that I like to tell every time I talk about food waste is about lettuce, because it'll help you really put into perspective just how dangerous it is to throw away food waste. So think of all the times that you bought maybe a 3-pack of romaine lettuce, and unfortunately you only used 2 out of the 3 and 1 got rotten in the fridge, so you had to throw it out. That head of lettuce is going to get put in a garbage bag, put in your cart, picked up by a truck, driven all the way out to a landfill, dropped on a tip base, and covered by other bags of garbage and covered by soil. And it's going to make it really hard for it to break down in a landfill setting. What I mean by this is that it can take up to 25 years for a head of lettuce to break down in the landfill. And because it's breaking down in a landfill, it's going to create greenhouse gases. And those are things that we don't want. So when you think about one head of lettuce taking 25 years, think about how long it's going to take all of the things in this picture to break down in a landfill. Like I said before, it's really easy to make sure that you're not throwing away so much food. So some things that I found in my life that have been really helpful are really planning your meals when you go and shop for groceries. Don't just buy a bunch of groceries. Think about how you're going to use each grocery that you put in your cart, right? Making sure you store things properly so they last as long as possible. Get creative with your leftovers. I know how much leftovers can suck, but you can really make sure that you use the most of them. Think consciously about expiry dates on things and make sure that you're using them in time, and then composting all of your leftover green waste. Simple things that you can do that are going to make a big difference. And if you are here on behalf of a business today and you want to make sure that you're dealing better with your food waste, like please let me know. We need to talk to you more about our organics program. Just going to ask everyone to mute again. Okay. Ooh. Okay, so as our little song in the beginning talked about is the 3 R's, okay? These are so important, especially to recognize the order in which they're meant to be interpreted. We were always meant to reduce first, reuse second, and recycle as kind of not a last resort, but as like, if you really can't make anything else of this, let's put it through a recycling program and have it melted down and made it something new. Well, chances are, if you're here today, it means that you're probably already doing a lot of these things, which is great. And I get a lot of messages from people saying, I'm living this zero waste life and it's amazing. And those people are great and should be, you know, applauded. But we also all have to just make that minimum effort to try and reduce and reuse and recycle, and hopefully maybe someday get to a zero waste or a low waste life. I want to say this presentation was put in part by the city of Saskatoon, as they're who help us with our classroom here, and they really made sure that I had all the tools I needed to put on this presentation today. So I really want to say thank you, because I know a few of them are here. Something that they have that's new that I think is really cool is the Waste Wizard app. I have it on my phone just because I love that it reminds me to put my card out on collection date. So if you are bad at remembering that, this app is for you. But also, if you are new to recycling, or if you're new to Saskatoon, or you just want to learn more, they do have a really good search engine option in here where you can type materials in and they'll tell you if it's recyclable or not. So, like I said at the beginning, I know that there's a lot of topics going on here and it often brings up a lot of questions. So I am gonna stop sharing my screen and open up for questions. But again, I just want to say thank you to the city for helping me put out this education today and list a few sources here. So Waste Reduction Week in Canada, they're great. They've got a lot of information on what's happening nationwide with waste and recycling. And then Recycle My Electronics is that awesome resource where you can go and look up where to take recycling, your electronics recycling, so it's handled responsibly. And then the Saskatchewan Waste Reduction Council is that last one there. If you're outside of Saskatoon and you need a resource like the Waste Wizard app, that's a great website for you. You can type what community you're in and what you're looking to recycle, and they'll help you find some place for it. Okay.